Please be seated. A reading from Luke. After leaving the synagogue, he entered Simon's house. Now Simon's mother-in-law was suffering from a high fever, and they asked him about her. Then he stood over her and rebuked the fever, and it left her. Immediately she got up and began to serve them. As the sun was setting, all those who had any who were sick with various kinds of diseases brought them to him, and he laid his hands on each of them and cured them. Demons also came out of many, shouting, "You are the Son of God." But he rebuked them and would not allow them to speak, because they knew that he was the Messiah. At daybreak he departed and went into a deserted place. And the crowds were looking for him, and when they reached him, they wanted to prevent him from leaving them. But he said to them, "I must proclaim the good news of the kingdom of God to the other cities also, for I was sent for this purpose." So he continued proclaiming the message in the synagogues of Judea. The word of the Lord. As we conclude our Lenten journey this evening, it is with great privilege that I get to invite Vicki Strandhoy up this evening to share her faith story with us.
Over the years, I've been inspired by many faith stories, faith journeys. However, I never anticipated sharing mine. That's what I emphatically told Pastor Woner when he asked me. I told Pastor Yuka the same. No, thank you, not me. But here I am, Vicki Strandhoy, sharing my journey. It really has been a journey through 4 different denominations. I was baptized Presbyterian because my father was Presbyterian, and when I was an infant. Before I was 2, my father, my Army doctor daddy, was sent to Japan after World War II. And I never really knew him again. My mother and I went to live with my grandparents and my aunt in a small town in Illinois. Because my mother was a nurse who did private duty nursing, I went to church with my aunt, who was a Baptist, Northern Baptist. They said that even there. That's where I learned to sing in Vacation Church School, Bible school. I learned to sing the books of the Old Testament to the tune of Onward Christian Soldiers. Now, once upon a time, a lady from this church who was very dear to me, when I told her that and started doing it, said she would not have recognized that it was Onward Christian Soldiers. But I do know the books. Eventually, my parents divorced. My mother remarried, this time a Methodist, and that's where my faith journey really began. It was in a small town Methodist church where I knew I belonged in the church. I loved the Sunday morning hymns like Holy, Holy, Holy. I was even in the choir. But even more, I loved the Sunday evening hymns like On Christ the Solid Rock I Stand, which I still love. I've never looked, One evening I answered an altar call to Just As I Am, and I have never looked back since then. My girlfriends from that church and I shared confirmation, MYF, Methodist Youth Camp, and 2 of them in the same congregation are still some of my best friends today. When I was in college at Urbana, Champaign-Urbana for some of you, and Chicago, I attended Methodist churches, both large and small. However, I never attended a Bible study or was in a Sunday school class, and I didn't really know what I was missing. Therefore, my understanding of religion just didn't mature beyond my high school understanding. I have spent the last 55 years trying to work on that. Jack and I married the summer after graduation from college, and moved from Chicago to Iowa City for grad school for him that would lead to his PhD. We attended a campus church, a Swedish Lutheran church. Some of you know Jack is half Swedish and half Danish, so we had to decide, and there wasn't a Danish. I wanted to join, but I had trouble attending the new members' classes that met on a regular basis. I had a very irregular schedule of working at the hospital where I rotated every week, and so I could never seem to make it to the new members' classes. A young pastor from that church came to our apartment every Sunday evening when I wasn't working, and I got to learn about the Lutheran Church. Some of the differences, some of the special things, and it was wonderful because it was like confirmation with an adult who really has a yearning to learn. However, I had a problem with this saved by grace concept. Did the Methodist Church really tell me that I was going to work my way to heaven, or did I just come up with that by myself? I loved saved by grace, but I had to understand it. So I've been a Lutheran now for over 55 years. At the Swedish Lutheran Church in Iowa City, a Norwegian Lutheran Church in Rochester, Minnesota, and finally at Augsburg. I have to tell you that we didn't immediately decide to join Augsburg when we first visited. We really wanted a Minnesota Lutheran Church, and there didn't appear to be one. Eventually, we found that Augsburg was the church for us. It's been our family because the rest of our families were far away in the Midwest. Our Sunday school class, called the Covenant class, which was the young adult class until they took our name, is truly like a family. We have studied the Bible, cooked and served meals, played at Myrtle Beach, and on and on and on. Our children have grown up together, gone to confirmation. Many of you know Linda and Phil Martin. They have a son who's now a Lutheran pastor in Richmond, Virginia, but he was such a calm baby. And our daughter Laura wasn't a calm baby, so they would put them together in the same crib so he could calm her down. Augsburg has helped me grow in my faith. I love the liturgy, the prayers, the wonderful sermons, and the music. Augsburg has helped me grow in service. When I was asked over the years to serve on committees, chair a committee, be on council, my first thought was always, me? Are you sure they mean me? Many pastors have helped me over the years to try to use my gifts even when I doubted. Some of you remember Vicar Roy Riley. He was an excellent pastor, a neighbor, a friend, and later became the bishop of the New Jersey Synod. Pastor Ritchie would say, "Thank you for all you do," and it always made me feel like I needed to do more. Pastor Wren realized that I was a crier, and so he didn't look at me if there was any portion of his sermon that he thought would bring on tears. Well, you know about Pastor Woolner, of course. And you know how he can work with you to get things done. Sometimes it means you're going to be up here giving a faith journey. Pastor Yuha may be new, but he was the one who asked me again, and then I finally said yes. This church has comforted me in so many times, such as when Jack broke his back. Not all of you know about that, but that was a while ago and it was a trial. And when my younger sister Carol died. When my brother Bob was diagnosed with brain cancer and died, Pastor Lori was a constant comfort. We love Augsburg. But now Jack and I are getting ready to embark on our next adventure. We are moving to Raleigh. We will be less than 20 minutes from our daughter Suzanne and her family, and less than 6 minutes from our new congregation, Good Shepherd Lutheran. Many of you know their senior pastor, who served as a vicar here, Richard Garris. Augsburg has had some great vicars, great pastors. I'm sure you will all agree. Good Shepherd will be different from Augsburg, just as Augsburg was different from our Minnesota Lutheran churches. We'll miss you all, but God will take care of us.